um, that Roshi and I and me are presenting a few different point of view regarding this quote that is, if you want to see things just as they are, then you yourself must practice just as you are. From Dogen, Master Dogen, and really, even before thinking about using these quotes for bringing a good discussion and creating a good dialogue among us, um, I was struck by the quote because it's very simple. It's very simple, and if you want to see things just as they are, then you yourself must practice just as you are. And so I thought, wow, I never heard something so simple and so direct and so true. And then I put a few notes down for the discussion. So I want you to know that for many years I wondered what my true self was. Even I'm sorry for saying this, Roshi. Even being a sensei, I still wonder what my true self was. That's the truth, honest. His description in books and talks seem very abstract to me. Using the term Buddha nature instead of true self confused me even more. Buddha nature instead of true self. Particularly because I am a woman. And, some of the ancient beliefs and teachings say or said that a woman cannot realize Buddha nature unless she's reborn as a man. And then you might think this is really old and you have never heard anything like that. But even one of my contemporary teachers of a while ago told me that I, not exactly that, but told me that I have to transcend my gender in order to realize Buddha nature. And that was so odd to me. So odd. But I didn't have the clarity to refute what he was saying. I was just utterly confused and utterly not understanding how something like that could be possible, that I have to transcend my gender to realize my Buddha nature. Well, if I call it Buddha nature, maybe. So I stopped calling it Buddha nature because for me, asking myself, am I Buddha nature, became a path with no end. I will always, find the same obstacle. But if I ask myself about my true self, yay! Of course! Of course! Where could it be? Where could it be? You know? Yay! So that my true self, yeah. I mean, I would just even smile. Yeah, oh, of course. Oh, that questioning of, what's my true self? What's my true self? What's my true self? It connected me also with the koan, who am I? Who am I? But I have worked with that koan exhaustively. So I had that benefit and that my true self already, could connect with the depth of that questioning, who am I? You know, and it will connect with my heart and it will connect with my inner being. And then I was preparing the, how do you guys like the name? Maitreya life for our theater performances. You like it? Maitreya life was, I was preparing the next performance for Maitreya life, and it's gonna be on Master Winnen and his life and his enlightenment experience, and all the wonderful adventures that happened to him in his way to realize himself, and how magical it was his beginning. And I found this quote from him that I felt it fits really well with this Dogen's quote. It says, well, I said, Winnen said that our true self is our own inner seed, our own inner seed, or our own deeper being, which is devoid of filters, conditions, or discriminations. Is who we are in our deeper sense without filters, conditions, or discriminations. Does that sound true? You know plainly who we are before we have been conditioned, and all of these things and belief and develop all these filters that don't see things as they are. And so, so it's a path of cleansing. Things a path of cleansing. It's a path of letting go, so we can connect with already who we are, our true self, from where all the all the precepts emanate naturally. Nothing to create. It's just the way we are. And then the fifth ancestor, which I love very much also, Master Diamond, added, once we connect with our true self, we won't lose it, we won't lose track of it, even in the middle of a battle. And I thought you guys were not gonna like the word battle. I just imagine you were saying, no, no, we don't want anything to do with battle. Battle, no, no battle. So, but as an example, it's pretty fantastic because imagine you in the middle of a battle, like when you're little playing with the middle battle. How could you lose your true self? What is your true self? But I have other examples. I said, see, they don't like that. I said, in the middle of a catastrophe, or I said, horseback riding, um, downhill skiing, in a soccer game, or whatever, cooking, you know. So that's what the fifth patriarch says. When we connect with with our true self, we will not lose it anywhere. I think it's more easy to lose in the kitchen. We are listening to music or talking to somebody than at a time that you need to be there to save your life or because your life could be at risk or but really that's because we are putting all of our attention but our true self is with us all the time if we just be there for it. So that was my part of the firewood. Can you put it over there?
Um, what you were saying was reminded me of one time I was with Bernie Glassman in Naropa, and somebody asked him, "How can I always be present in the here and now?" And Bernie looked at the audience and he said, "Everybody who is not here and now, please raise your hand." So you must practice as you are. So how can we practice not as we are? Um, so we don't And he says, if you want to see things as they are, you must practice yourself. Yourself must practice as you are. But we usually don't see things as they are because we see them as we think we are. And we talk about the three poisons, the five poisons. So if we're ever in the grip or the grasp of any of the five poisons, then we experience everything through those lenses. And the five poisons are ignorance, which is the root of all of them, and hatred, greed, pride, and jealousy, pride or arrogance. And our attachments to who we think we should be prevents us from seeing things as they are. So when the Buddha was asked what he gained through his many years of meditation practice, he said, I've gained nothing, but I've let go of a lot of things. So that's one of the things we have to look at is where we're stuck, what we're holding on to, and what we can let go of. It's not really supporting us in our practice or in our life. We start looking at it and say, oh yeah, I can let go of that. That's easy. And maybe I can let go of that. But that, really? You want me to let go of that? I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. Because who will I be then? I won't be better than other people if I let go of that. Or whatever. So we talk about ego and awareness. So ego implies unawareness because awareness and ego can't coexist. And out of ignorance, one of the poisons, we believe that there is an I that is solidly independent and autonomous. And that's one of the things that we have to let go of, is attachment to this sense of I as differentiated from others or you. And that's one of the hardest things to let go of. Because we have all of these conditioned ways of thinking and behaving that we've developed actually over thousands of years of collective human unconsciousness. But every time we are aware that we're attached to something, then this grip on this self ego is weakened and we're getting closer to our true self. Now, if I say to myself, one day I will be free of ego, or one day I'll be enlightened, who's that talking? Is that the true self, or is that the ego? Awareness doesn't have such aspiration. Awareness doesn't need to do anything but see the thoughts and feel the feelings as they arise. Awareness functions through an open heart that has the courage to stay present with the rawness of each moment without trying to change it. As Roshi, Shinko, and I explained in the Great Art Way, fear is a trademark of the ego. Unconditional love is a trademark of the heart. And the biggest fear of the ego is a fear that it's not real and then it will disappear. And unconditioned love does not depend on anything. It's the truth of your life. It is your being and your presence. And ego dissolves when it's brought into the light of awareness and the love of the heart. So I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I think Roshi and Shinko liked it, just was smiling. But I think it was one of the Indian gurus, Maharaji, who said that the question, when we ask the question, who am I? It's not to find an answer to the question, but to dissolve the one who was questioning. She smiled again. Yeah. Okay, so that's my contribution to our discussion, to the fire, to stoke your interest. So we asked Anai to also contribute, Myozan to also contribute something.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Thanks to you.
And thank you for the opportunity to reflect on this quote. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, especially through that box.
Perfect. So if you want to see things as they are, then you must, if you want to see, so let's look first at the first part. If you want to see things as they are, is something that I found interesting because it says if in some ways, like it seems to be optional. There's the option to stay in our everyday life reality, in our habits, but there's an invitation in this part of the quote, if you want to see things as they are. And we come to meditation for various reasons. Maybe we read a book and we're curious about meditation, or maybe we're having a challenge in our life, stress or depression, and our doctor or friend said that meditation may help. Maybe you're pursuing big questions and think that you might find them in the world of Zazen. So early in my practice, this quote reminded me that early in my practice, when I started practicing Zazen in New Jersey, the first 10 minutes of practice were always a beginning instruction for new people. So new people would come in and then there was like a small explanation on what to do on the cushion or the chair. And the teacher at the time always had the same speech. Like I knew what he would say, like in the next line, because there were new people coming in like every week or every couple of weeks. But one evening he was not there, and an advanced student was in charge of the sitting, and she did the beginning instruction, and to this day has stuck with me. And she explained like what to do on the cushion, how to focus on the breath and so on. But she said something that is here with me. She said the goal of meditation is to uncover the nature of reality. So that can sound very abstract, but there is a very clear and direct method that we come to practice together, and it's called Zazen, to uncover that nature of reality. And perhaps this practice makes us feel a little bit better, or a little bit more whole. It lifts off some of that anxiety or depression, and that is great, right? We have to keep doing it. But ultimately, why we are trained is to study the nature of reality, see things as they are. And perhaps it makes us feel better because we see things as they are. In fact, the Buddha talks about the goal of this practice as the end of suffering. So in the quote we're studying, Dogen does not say, though, if you want to see things as they are, practice Zazen meditation, or at least not literally. He says, if you want to see things as they are, then yourself must practice as you are. So as Roshi was saying, who am I? Who am I truly? Does my gender, my age, my ethnicity, my nationality matter to truly understand who I am? And I think it matters in some ways, like sociologically or in a biographical sense, or even in the unfolding of the world of the relative. It can impact the ways in which life unfolds. But when I'm practicing on the cushion, do these things matter? And again, I don't want to say that they don't matter, but also, do they matter? Practicing with the 10,000 things that arise, a joy, a sorrow, a souvenir, or a fantasy, a leg that feels like broken right before the bell rings when I'm sitting to see the 10,000 things. And suddenly, between two breaths, things drop, and there is no gap between my life and the one of a 13th century monk. There is no gap between this atomic energy that populates my body and the very atoms of the universe, the stars, the sun, and the moon. Suddenly, I'm just I, the 10,000 things. Thank you. This was my log to the fire. Hopefully, there's a little bit of food for thought there. I look forward to the discussion.
That end was so beautiful. You should read it again one more time. The poetic end. Please. Hey.
Thank you, Roshi. It says, practicing with the 10,000 things that arise, a joy, a sorrow, a souvenir, or a fantasy, a leg that feels like broken right before the bell rings, when I'm sitting to see the 10,000 things. And suddenly, between two breaths, things dropped, and there is no gap between my life and the one of a 13th century monk. There is no gap between this atomic energy that populates my body and the very atoms of the universe, the stars, the sun, and the moon. Suddenly, I'm just I, the 10,000 things.